let's switch to more or less to AI. You will tell us how AI talks to data today. Yeah.
Thank you, Marcus. Maybe I discuss the journey I take, and the slogan is how we will talk to data in the future and today. And originally, I worked 7 years at Microsoft, and Microsoft started together with AWS and Google and Fraunhofer ESSP with Dataspaces. Who knows what is Dataspaces? No one. So, and at this time, Apache Iceberg came into the place. It's an open source table format. Who knows Apache Iceberg? Okay, so it's a very efficient way to access data with compute to data. That means you send SQL-like statements to the servers, then you get back the results. It's very efficient. I would say more efficient than the database, because databases are more have use and access rights to particular endpoints. You can protect APIs, you can protect files, you can also protect Apache Iceberg endpoints. You can do everything with that. And then I want to dive into a model context protocol, and then I want to discuss why this is the hottest shit, and why the others should be integrated in MCP. And it's already integrated. I will show you how to use it. And I also have some hands-on examples, and then I can show you also the hands-on examples if we have time. So let's start. And in the chat, you will find also the presentation. And yeah. So as you can see, the sovereign access to data we've made through connectors. And the most important thing is for the enterprise, is this contract negotiation. And this contract negotiation is like a file that says between two connectors with a policy which data is transferred. The problem today, as you know, if you want to exchange data, usually you have keys to exchange information, or you have OpenID Connect with OAuth, but this is always comes to data breaches. We see it in Databricks and Snowflake. They had a lot of data breaches last year. So that's the reason we started with the Dataspace protocol. Is now under ISO and IEC now. So we are working on that. So that was my task of the last 4 years, I would say. So how you make this contract negotiation, the catalog. So we have using W3C. Who knows W3C, this catalog? Yeah, it's a UK-based catalog. But for example, in Catena X, we are using on top of that the asset administration shell, German Verwaltungsschale. So it's a very Boshy thing. I would say it's only driven by Bosch, Fraunhofer, and SAP. So it's, I would say, this is more for the digital twins on top of this catalog. Yeah, and this standardization was very important as well. So, and then with the policy engine. So as you can see, we created a standardized rule book with functional requirements. So I learned a lot how to write standards in a way you define that, how policies you have to attach to your data space, your data catalog, data contracts, and if you have in the future the possibility to work in these areas, you have a data space radar. So you see more than 225 data projects are out there. I work in Katrina X. It's a, I would say, $1 billion data project from the automotive industry. Katrina is working here. So it's automotive. And this Katrina project was here, was very, I would say, this is the blueprint for all other data spaces, as you can say.
And thank you for using a Power BI report in this case.
The moment. And then we also work in this project. It was an Eclipse Dataspace project. As you can see, Microsoft, Google, Amadeus, AWS, BMW is working on it. It was one of the biggest Eclipse Foundation projects with hundreds of contributors. And then I work in this data space operating company. So what we did is we have to think about when we have data providers and data consumers, we offering a sovereignness data platform to bring the data consumers and providers together and exchange data between the connectors. So who knows what is an identity wallet or digital credentials?
Yeah.
So who heard about self-sovereign identity? No? So who heard about AIDAS 2.0? No. Okay, AIDAS 2.0 is a European wallet initiative that bring every company and every citizen in Europe a digital credential until 2027. So in 2027, you will have your digital credential on your mobile, and every citizen of the European Union will have this, and also every company will have it.
Oh.
But that is very important step to exchange data with each other. This is a reason why they think about you need like a data trustee. So they say you can trust the data provider and you can trust the data consumer. And this data trustee company was established. So very academic, I would say, on one hand, and it's very hard with this approach to find a business case because of we are a little bit too early because in 2027 it becomes mandatory, and now the automotive industry is in struggle now, and they said, okay, the Supply Chain Due Diligence Act is not coming anymore, so they are stopped now and postponed to 2027 because the European Supply Chain Due Diligence Act will come in place then. So the German ones, Lieferketten-Sorgfaltspflichtengesetz, is stopped now. By the CDU, the new coalition. Yeah, but this is we thought the last 4 years how to exchange data in a secure and sovereign way, and this is driven also by the European Commission. So they set up a program. I think it's like 200 million euros, as you can see. As you can see, public procurement, European health, language data space, European open science cloud, and destination Earth. So this behind, they are using our Eclipse Dataspace connector. So that brings this EDC forward and over the dataspace protocol. So here, I would say, here we are, and then we also spoke with Databricks, and we also spoke with Snowflake, with Microsoft, with AWS, but they have moment. Why do that? It's here. A second. Yeah. If you want, so when we spoke with Databricks and Snowflake, they said, yeah, we have Apache Iceberg for that. We have, if you want to access huge data sets, you can have these queries, and then with the catalog, Unity catalog, you can access this information, and with the metadata retrieval, you access to your data lake, to all the data you have. So as you can see, the iceberg, the model of the iceberg is on the top, and on the tip of the iceberg is the catalog. You access the catalog, and then you can access through the metadata pointers to the metadata files, and then you have also a governance layer to say, hey, for example, for health, you are not allowed to get single data sets from personal data. You have to aggregate the data if you have minimum 10 people together. And this kind of things you can do. So it's widely adopted now, the open table format, like Parquet, in modern data lakes, lake houses. So as you can see, Microsoft, Fabric, Snowflake, Databricks, AWS, and even Google BigQuery now is bringing now as well. So you have one single access to your data with these data sets. So they didn't have the need to have like this. But what they are not having is data contracts. So you give your data key, or your key to your data to someone, but no one knows really who gave the data when. And you have like a data governance layer from company to company. Like if you use Microsoft Purview, you have this governance, but you have to take care for yourself. You know, this is, I would say, the problem. So, and then Anthropic started last year with the first version of model context protocol. And this is a game changer because as you can see, you can access local file systems. I can show you. If you have local file, and the local files should be stayed there. No LLM model should access that. You can keep it on locally. You can access a database like Postgres. I'm using it often with Superbase and Airtables and so on. It's very, very convenient. You can also access local databases or company databases with that. But you also have web APIs to the internet like Slack. But also you have already Microsoft Fabric to connect with. So as you can see, you have different ways. And you have different clients. So an MCP client can be this one here. Claude. I switch a little bit that you can see how it looks like. Claude is now. Who knows Claude, by the way? Who is using Claude? Do you know here is you can see the MCP servers, and you see, as you can see, different things. For example, if you use GitHub, you see all the methods of GitHub, what you're using, and you can say, hey, I don't want to share, for example, a delete or merge pull requests and so on. So I have very fine-grained as you have it on your mobile. If you want to share info data with an app, you can say, hey, you can see my position. You can see this and this and this. I think someone is waiting here.
Oh, yeah. Well, door is open. Thanks.
Hi.
Hello.
So who used MCP service in Cloud Desktop already? Okay, you know what? So I can show you the later how you do that, how you program your own MCP server, how you can access, for example, from this. So the great thing is, it's 90% of data-related products are supporting MCP today. Even Microsoft Windows 11 with the Windows Explorer will support that. So in the Microsoft build, they show it. So this is a crazy game changer. I started to write an article in March. So as you can see how it looks like with the client, you can access Atlassian, Azure DevOps, GitHub, Azure ADX, Grafana, and so on. So, and who knows in Matrix this scenery? And Trinity asked, "Hey, can you fly this helicopter?" And said, "Not yet." And she's getting this special information, these special skills. And you can imagine the MCP is like this helicopter skill. So you say, I need this helicopter skill, give me this helicopter skill. Because the problem is LLM models are too large. And here with the MCP, you have three different things, and I will explain it later. You can say, what is the instructions? For example, it's like an instructor manual. It's like how you start the helicopter, what is the safety options, and so on. So it's a very clear instruction book how to do that, And this is very important for the LLM. So you have hosts, clients, MCP servers, local data sources, and remote services. And then you can, and each of that is an MCP server, and with this AI client in the middle, you can control everything. So this is like a AI iPhone moment. So it's like, as you can see here, you can say, hey, you can integrate different systems, complexity, unify, and so on. So we have more than 15,000 different things. As you can see, N8N, Grafana, Perplexity, Airflow, Airtable, Azure ADX, Azure OpenAI, Microsoft Fabric, Microsoft Copilot, Snowflake, Databricks, Unity Catalog. We can bring everything in one application together. And I think the best thing is Cloud Desktop. As you can see, you can define under developer, and I can show you. Yeah, here you have Cloud settings, and here you have different MCP servers. Desktop command I will show you in a moment. Complexity search I like very much. Playwright is also awesome to do the weather. MCP server I programmed, so you can. We will check this later to ask how is the weather tomorrow. Superbase, this is a self-programmed as well, and there was some issues. I hope we can fix it together. You see, I break it last minute when I'm trying to add something, but it's also very good to see how you can debug these kind of things in the MCP server. Yeah.
So in this case, just because I never used it, so in this case, there would be a data source that can communicate via the MCP protocol.
Right.
Then you can add it in Cloud Desktop right here. It would be in the list then.
Yeah.
And can you immediately start querying it?
Yeah, sure. For example, when we want to have the weather app, you see, get the current weather, get the weather by daytime, get the current daytime. So the question here is, usually you have parameters to set. What we don't see here.
To use this weather.
Usually you have longitude and latitude.
Yeah.
So no one, I would say, have from Berlin the latitude and longitude. So how you can also speak in German, how is the weather? Yeah. Oops. in Berlin, or how will be the weather tomorrow, yeah? So as you can see now, he is asking like a API call, but the very nice thing is you don't need to know latitude and longitude. The LLM behind knows the API and they know Berlin is, and he calculates. And here you also see book activation. Yeah, okay, but he's also should.
Yeah. So the LLM that behind Claude is now checking out how to use the API, and the API using MCP is already present.
Seems he is using another MCP service. So
I was wondering, how do you make him use exactly the service that you want?
Sometimes the problem is if you have too many MCP servers, he didn't know which one he should do.
Absolutely.
So in this case, you will have you will check. You can switch on and switch off some MCP servers. As you can see, we can switch off the specific ones. So as you can see here, he's using an internet search, so we don't want to use it. So let me check.
I think the research plugin is.
I think we also want
That always takes hours.
switch off the research here.
Oh yeah.
Stop it. Stop research. I think there was a problem with the research that he is deeply researched instead of using the XP. So he should ask me now. As you can see here, start get weather by data range. As you can remember, that was the API for that. And then he gave back time tomorrow. It's 22, early morning, and so on. So the LLM model is not knowing this weather forecast. So, but this kind of things, you can enrich your LLM with data that's in real time, you know?
Yeah. In this case, all you need is to like publish the APIs, like the 3 ones for weather that we just saw. And
we are jumping a little bit back and forth. I will show you how to do that. And then
but I'm just trying to understand.
Yes, please. Can you show them one example how you connect one MCP?
Yes,
This would be
sure.
really great. And especially the sources, usually when you go, I think there's now, you said it, 14,000 of these MCPs for different services. So it's also really nice, okay, when you do one, how to really connect them, because it's not, it goes way beyond web.
Yes,
I would say in this case.
I have a couple of examples.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go ahead. So as you can see, how much traction that had if you're using Google Trend and also the GitHub. For example, our project, the EDC, got 327 GitHub stars, 205 followers, and 92 contributors. When you compare that with MCP, it's like 72K GitHub stars, 28K followers, 166 contributors. And if you compare that with the Iceberg, it's 10 times more. It's 10 times more followers, and contributors are like less than that, but it's very driven by traffic. So so as you can see, it's 90% growing up. Or 90% of the AI LLM project are adopting MCP now. So more at this adoption rate we wish to have with the EDC. We have an adoption rate maybe from 5%, 3%. And if you see the search in Google Trends, that's nearly 100% search. You can see the other ones like Dataspaces, EDC, Agentic, Iceberg is a little bit more, but it's crazy what is the fraction here. And as you can see here, we have more than 15,000 tools. And as you can see, this is the world of MCPs. We have more than 15,000 indexed MCP servers. not everyone I would recommend. This is also 2 or 3 MCP services there.
That you would not recommend.
No, it's because there was just testing and they search the web and add them.
Oh,
Yeah, so I didn't ask for it. So,
So I could create
in a
server
public
that
issue, create
gives
a
you-
public.
that gives you weather forecasts that are just wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And it will be automatically found and you'll always bring a raincoat.
You are right. So that's,
But when I understand it correctly, this MCP stuff is great in publishing capabilities, finding them, and so on. But what you've been working on includes a lot more authentication and validation of the sources and so on. And
it's right. It's not.
out of the box.
But I think that's it. If you are getting featured, you see things like playwright, and I also come to this, how it works. It is AWS. And I would recommend, for example, if you have here, for example, AWS, yeah, check if this comes directly from AWS, or is it something, because you live in access, key access here. So don't do it if you are not know who is it.
So there's also big risk involved here.
Right.
Yeah.
So here you need to think about and what you want to do. Yeah. And there are 2 ways to do that: remote or locally. Locally, that means the code run on your computer, and the keys stay on your computer. And remote means you access remotely to that. And as you can see here, this is, I would say, the local server config, but it runs on the server and runs under FNPX model. And then, but you can also run it on your computer and access that. I can show you later how it looks like. So this is one way. I would say this is the largest MCP platform, but you also have Smithery. Smithery, they also host these kind of things. As you can see, Superbase, memory, tools, Context 7 is very good, Notion, Slack, and so on. So there's a lot. As you can see, there's not so many, 7,446 connectors, but they are better well picked, than the other ones. Another thing I also want to show you is Pipedream. They also host these things. And as you can see here, they have like Salesforce. And as you can see here, you see all the tools from Salesforce, what they are offering. And then you can see how you can set it up for Claude, for OpenAI, because OpenAI is also supporting it. Cursor, Windsurf. Who's using Cursor or Windsurf today? No one. Cursor. I'm using Windsurf. I can show you Visual Studio Code. You can integrate that, and client is quite similar than this. Yeah, and then you configure that automatically with your client of which, So it's very convenient. These 3 things, I would say, have different purposes. I would say, when I summarize, the European Commission, they are driving Dataspaces because it's like a regulatory framework with data contracts, policy-centric, and regulatory alignment. But the MCP is very flexible. What I can see here is very convenient. It's very easy to use, and with the natural language, you don't need to write code that 2 APIs communicate with each other. When you say, hey, how is the weather tomorrow in Berlin? He knows how to translate it to longitude, and date time for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So in this case, we're doing everything in the background with the LLM model. So very convenient and very intelligent. And this is the smart thing here. And so if you see what we are working on the last 4 or 5 years, we're struggling to adopt these kind of things. But when we see MCP is now coming, wow, it's overwhelming. So what we need to do, or should be also the European Commission here, we have to take a look on the MCP, how they make the integration from the human to the data. And they need to be work together, the Dataspaces with the modern context protocol. And I see then it's also a better adoption of this. And
Do you feel like this is the direction where it's actually going, or is it?
yeah, they're still discussing. So I had a discussion with the guy, he's working on the Data Act and on the European Commission. He's aware of that and he's thinking about it.
But then another question, don't you feel that this is really scary? I feel like what you've shown us is there is this tool that does some black magic, and if you have all good and trustworthy sources, all is good. But if your sources are not trustworthy, then who knows what will happen with your data, and who knows what will happen with
You are totally right.
with the responses you get. And I mean, with the traction it's gaining, it will surely be target for attacks from state actors, for example. So basically, what people are doing today with AI is like a question about politics. Like, is it good what Trump is doing? Is it bad what Trump is doing? And if I was a Russian state actor and I injected an AI there that just says best guy in the world, then you can be sure that tomorrow it will be all over the American news.
But the good one is you can keep your data local and you don't give it out. I will show you in a minute how to do that.
Yeah, but still, usually what you'll do is also include external sources for all kinds of information. I'm not only
You
talking
can,
business,
you can.
but what are people using ChatGPT for today? For conversation.
Yeah, sure.
And
Plus, I guess the whole
But you
point of
can-
MCP is external sources, right?
yeah,
It's
exactly.
just something
And
that you're-
now I write an endpoint that just tells everybody who says I have a depression, oh, go kill yourself, and then see what happens.
You can have an endpoint like that, but you can have the endpoint also locally. And I will show you. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you can have.
But then the question is, as an enterprise user or as a company, can I control which endpoints my users access?
Point.
Because if I can't, then the possibility to use local data is useless because they might still use external sources that are not trustworthy. And that's the point where data contracts come into play and get interesting, because that actually helps me secure a certain standard of quality of data used here because I have curated sources. But if I can't have that, because here's the world, just use whatever you want, no matter how good or bad it is. Whoa, it scares me.
Let's discuss the capabilities first.
Yeah,
And then I come to security.
sure. That was just my initial thought when I saw the website.
I also wrote a LinkedIn article about the security issues they need to solve. Yeah.
That was scary for me.
I don't want to start with the security vulnerabilities.
Sure. I didn't want to derail. That was just what came to my mind when you.
Can I have one more question?
Yeah, sure.
These websites you showed us, these three, which you, what different types you have. You said also all are not trustworthy. So first of all, the first step is go more usually with the featured ones, and not with any, you give there a search point and say, okay, this could be MCP, which fits, and then in the end, it's not trustworthy. And does these three websites have, when it has the same MCP server, different functions on them? Because now for your weather, you have, for instance, get weather, I think. And so are they a little bit different, which functions you get in the end? Do you notice?
I can show you later.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And very important, The most trustworthy endpoints are the endpoints of the product suppliers. So for Microsoft,
Yes, okay.
from don't. If you go to pipe dream smithery, you also find these endpoints. If you check the endpoints, it's a Microsoft endpoint, it's a GitHub endpoint, it's a Databricks or Snowflake endpoint. You can trust.
Okay.
Don't use someone from a private repository. If you search for Databricks, for example, you find 10 Databricks, and 9 of them, they are private MCP servers. Don't use them. Use the original one. Yeah.
And like the original one is, I think, still officially in preview.
You need to check.
Last time I checked, they did
Yeah,
not
yeah.
release stable.
And traffic, everything
That's
from
kind of-
traffic is not in preview, is stable. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they listed in Anthropic as like community something or so. But I guess this is the point about all of these aggregators. Like right now, it takes a while to, I guess, develop a stable Databricks server, for example. So it'll be some time until an official one gets released. And until then, you'll have all of these custom implementations or so. That is the one option, and then you have this issue of like, do I trust whatever it does, or do I implement my own version and potentially?
And that's where the space comes in and goes in as Databricks and says this is the official Databricks connector with the official logo and everything on it. And
Oh, you see
people
it's
start
on
to
the URL, if it's not Databricks.
yeah, it's Databricks, and I know how good people read when they are excited to try something new.
So go to the website of Databricks and then you see.
Yeah, but that's a lot of precaution that people need to take rather than just clicking on the button.
So is it also, I know there are, because I don't come so much from the data background, I come more from operation and online stores. So there's a Shopify MCP. And the issue what I see is more that the users, so I know what I do with my MCP. So please create this item in this catalog, this price and this inventory. But my other employee, he can also delete my catalog with this MCP. And that's what I actually then think is how I can prevent something like this. So the connection is easy to make, but then that it's not too much overuse of these endpoints there. That you just say, okay, delete my whole catalog, and boom, 1,000 items. And I don't get them in any way. I mean, they are back and something like this.
So just don't grant access.
Well,
Just don't grant access.
yes, but usually when I don't know if these MCPs can be this way created that different users have the different functions then, because he just made them up left or right to get the function.
Yeah,
To be honest, I wouldn't.
There's another layer.
Like
Okay.
if you build an agent that you and your colleagues
Yes.
use, you can choose what like functionality of any given MCP you expose.
And what the agent can do in the
And
end.
you
What
could
it
like
can do.
put some
Okay.
credential authorization.
Because the LLM doesn't care. It will just send a JSON and it's gone. Okay.
I'll be
Thank
honest, I wouldn't trust this one because it's not directly from them. This is someone. He developed that in a public GitHub repository.
Yeah.
In this case, I would say Shopify.
With an I.
With an I, yes.
Yeah.
I just take it as an example. I didn't use it yet.
Yeah.
That's why I'm also here today
Yeah.
to hear a little bit more about
Yeah.
MCP.
So, I don't know if they have here, as you can, Zapier has this Shopify Dev, as you can see. Use this one,
Okay.
configure, go directly.
To the company itself, and when they
Yeah.
provide MCPs in the developer section.
Yeah, as you
do
can
this.
see,
Okay.
this is Shopify.
Yeah.
And what you can do, you can add this to Cursor, as you can see, it goes directly to the SaaS and provider, and then you have it on your local machine, and then you can access Shopify from your MCP client. Yeah. So this is a way. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back.
We don't charge you for this.
No, it's absolutely absolutely fine. For me, it's important that MCP is a real step forward despite knowledge bases. So knowledge bases, yes, I can put it in and the LLM has access to it, but MCP is more, I can also take actions on something. And that's the main point. And before you said it right, for every API key, I have to program it in any way, which I'm not so much into coding, I don't know it better. So for each one, so MCP is really there. That's why it is so much, because I can structure the business like, okay, this person can do just with the LLM, do nearly everything in a shop or in something else in a database or anywhere else, which the knowledge base just have the information.
But usually, if you have, for example, GitHub,
Yeah,
I can show you, and you use the GitHub, you use the built-in GitHub things. For example, GitHub. Second, usually you'll find here in GitHub settings, and then you have developer settings, and then you have personal access tokens. As you see here, fine grained tokens. Yeah. As you can see, this is my MCP server. Okay, as you can see here, you can have different, let's say, personal access tokens.
yeah,
All the SaaS providers have it like that. And then you can fine grain, say, as you can see, the token you cannot see. You have to store it, for example, in OnePass. I use OnePass for that. And then you can say use the user permissions, read and write access, repository permissions, and so on. So you can say which one you should want to allow. Yeah, and these special pet you give out to your customer, and then you can see you can set an expiration date, yeah, and say this expiration date after 9 months.
Yeah.
You get rid of it.
Okay.
So this is built in OAuth and token things here, and you also can. They are also supporting OAuth 2.1.
Hang on, I have a question here. So you just said you give out your personal access token to customer?
No. As you can see here, you can have different tokens.
Yes,
It's
but
not
they're still
personal.
tied to my account because they're personal access tokens. So I don't
If you
hand
are,
them out to anyone usually.
this is my personal GitHub account.
Yes.
But if you have a GitHub Enterprise, as an administrator, you can create these paths for different applications.
So you create the different tokens, send them out to the different employees, then, and with that you are.
Not employees, I would say
Yeah.
applications.
Create an application, not a
Yeah,
path.
not users.
Not path, not a.
So this one here
Application.
is, we'll say, can I do it also on the enterprise? I don't have GitHub Enterprise here,
Yeah.
but if you have GitHub
Yeah.
Enterprise, you also can define application tokens.
Yeah, okay. I hand over an application.
And-
That makes sense, yeah.
And also, you have OAuth applications, and then you can create OAuth 2.1, because the MCP specification also allow OAuth 2.1. Sorry.
Okay.
Not every client server supporting that, but the specification is out there and is allowed. Yeah. Okay, that's an example.
Thank you for this. I know we was a little bit drifting already.
No worries. I'm in the wrong one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what's the business impact for us? The MCP is like has a huge network effect now. We have this AI momentum. Everyone is using it. Everyone is jumping on the train. And we'll say the EDC and the dataspace is still in the EU policies, and what we need to bring it together and we need in Germany the sovereign data exchange sovereignty. I know everyone has a different meaning what means sovereignty. Some people say sovereignty means it's under my table computer. And when I ask you what sovereignty means for you, you want
I checked it. It's a dictionary.
Yeah.
Different meanings.
different meanings?
But the meaning of very good
Very good. Okay.
also.
Who one else wants to give his opinion about sovereignty?
Basically, I think it means that I have control over what
Right.
happens. However, that also involves a level of trust with the services I use.
So it's like you are always the owner of your data. Even if it's a data breach, you can decide, for example, like your privacy information, to get back your information, get back your data, and you always know who has your data. So it's like, it's not always the case. If the hackers have your data, then you are not sovereign data active anymore, because the data have sell your data, the hackers sell your data. So MCP is very good for rapid product development. It's really good to see how good that integrates with each other. And we see a hybrid future here. We need this kind of things because we see a very low adoption rate for the sovereignty layer, because it was very complicated, very academic. And we are also here because there's also a Microsoft thing, and I don't know, you know the last build, who watched the last build? So I can give you a short wrap up what Nadila is talking about. Very interesting. He started with Windows 11. Windows 11 and the new Windows 11, you will have MCP server, and that means with Windows 11, everything should look like WARP. Who knows WARP? I need
Does that mean that my PC becomes an MCP server?
yes.
Oh, okay.
So MCP client, sorry, and then
Yeah.
you can have
Client.
also additional.
Okay.
So
Basically, if you use the start menu search bar, it will
Yeah.
incorporate all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
services.
So you
Like
have-
Claude.
And knowing Microsoft, people will not know which these are.
Yeah.
So they want to also integrate it in the Windows Explorer, in the terminal, and so on. So it's, and how it looks like today, it's if you know WARP, this is a very good terminal solution for all kind of computers, and you can have here settings. I'm not using yet this one, but as you can see, go to AI. This is an AI-driven terminal. That it means you have here your agents. So the good one is if you're not working day by day and say deploy my application to Docker, yeah, and run. Then he's thinking, and he's also doing these MCP stuff, and he's generating everything, and he's doing that. He's not faster than someone who's knowing these commands, but it's really good. He analyzes everything. He scan what kind of, here's a Docker file, here's a Docker compose, a make file, and then he's knowing how to create a Docker compose, and as you can see, you find now make Docker up, and then you can run it, and then you can also add MCP servers on top of that. So this is how Microsoft also want to do that. I have a Mac here, so I'm working with that, but many people from the Windows side, they are looking for tools like that. And this is, I would say, the thinking how they want to do it with the AI. Yeah, So let's go back. What else we have here? We have Microsoft Fabric. So as you can see, Microsoft Fabric here is from Microsoft. It's not from somewhere else. So this is the MCP server to access Microsoft Fabric Time Intelligence. So the new one. So with the event house, the Custo. So Custo was the first. They support MCP, and that's the reason why this is now here also available. This new product. And as you can see, that's the available tools. As you can remember, that's all the, and then you can ask, get databases in the event house, sample 10 rows from the table, blah, blah, blah. And it's really powerful, you know. So these tools are available here. This is quite limited today, but you can extend that. And you also can do it in a PowerShell. And you can use it, as you can see, you can configure that in your settings in Visual Studio Code, for example. You can do it, you can use it in desktop and so on. You can debug that. And you also can use WAR, for example, to ask. Especially when you are developing, it's very convenient as a developer. You can ask, hey, how many rows you have? Okay. And as a developer, I'm not used to make SQL statements from day to day, so it's very good to see what you have. And then, for example, you can say, hey, can you create a JSON for testing out of that? It's really cool. Yeah, this is the one Microsoft providing. You sent me this as well, this MCP with Azure AI Foundry. So as you can see, this is I can do it here a little bit bigger, so it looks like that. You can see here, you ask, hey, can you access to these special AI agent? And then you can access this Microsoft AI agent from Cloud and someone else. So he's asking always, do you allow me to access this external house? And then you also can say which features you allow. In this case, there's a reason why he's asking again and again. But you can also say, hey, allow it always to do that, and then you only need to do it once. So this is cool. We can use also AI agent from Microsoft also outside, and so you can interconnect these AI tool chains together. So it's very, very powerful. What else? GitHub. So I'm using GitHub today already, as you can see. I can show you also. It's so convenient to say, hey, let's create an issue, then have a proper planning for development, make a feature branch, create a pull request, merge the pull request, and close the issue.
Can it do a thing like get all the commit messages and create a changelog from that?
Yeah, sure.
That's amazing.
That's
Something no developer likes to do.
Yes, it's really good.
You can do that in a release pipeline.
Yeah, you can do that.
It'll only be
Another
as good as
thing-
the commit message.
Yeah.
It'll only be as good as the commit message.
I can get my developers to write decent commit messages. But then exactly. But then to at the end to remember what went into that release and create a changelog from that. It's just annoying legwork that nobody likes to do.
Another thing, I'm getting a little bit busy when I see how many co-pilots and Microsoft has, but they also saying the co-pilots, they have now also MCPs, so you can access these co-pilots. Here, this is very convenient as well.
So that combines all the co-pilots into one. interface.
No, you have to access one, so you
So
can
you have to
configure.
include each one individually.
It's always, these MCP is always a connector to one agent.
Okay.
But I will show you later, there's something on the horizon. Then you have dynamics. I don't want to go deeper, and Azure function triggers. We can also use these function triggers for logic apps, for functions and so on. So it's very convenient here. So you can use it in this case here as well. So Microsoft is focusing on standardization, security, communication. They already know these issues, what I told you. So they know if they want to build in model context protocol in Windows and Fabric and so on, it has to be secure. So now we are in the second phase of the model context protocol. So the first one was in November last year. The second was in March. So I expect maybe in autumn, the next one. So Microsoft is in a standardization committee. So they are driving this, as you can see here, they are supporting that, and they are developed in this secure future initiatives, as you can see. So they have serious trouble in the past with lost master keys, as you know. So they don't want to do that anymore. So this guy here, Charlie Bell, he's responsible for secure these
Well,
things.
losing master keys.
Okay, and as you can see here, this is very interesting. This is a GitHub repo for MCP. What Microsoft supports, what kind of MCP? As you can see, if you want to have the infrastructure, you want to access the infrastructure with Azure, you can use Azure MCP so that you can create. Then, as you can see, here you should see the tools available in MCP service. As you can see, best practices, return secure product grade SDK best practice. It could be the well-architected framework and the advisors, I think. Cosmos DB operations, Key Vault, and as you can see, that's not every service now, but it's growing now. As you can see, resource groups, you get. I think Microsoft Graph is behind, so you can access all these things. And as you can see, they are started, say, from 3 months ago. So it's, I don't know, is it public, still in public preview? I cannot see that here. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, 0.2, so.
Yeah. It's coming.
Yesterday, daily build.
Now, Google started with agent-to-agent communications, also public on top of that. So because MCP is more the communication between MCP client or MCP server, but if you want to orchestrate many agents together, you need an architecture or an A2A protocol to come for the architecture. So Google is doing that. But as well, Microsoft did that.
It will be interesting to wait how long it takes for the first people to build an echo chamber where two agents just keep asking themselves the same question.
The interesting thing is Microsoft announced in a build, they still supporting semantic kernel, that's their architecture, MCP as well, Google and A2A. So in this case, you have a multi-agent orchestrator, so you can use Gemini, you can use the agent of Gemini. So everything should be interoperable with each other. So that's a promise. We will see. But the good one is if you have everything in AI Foundry, it's great. Then as here you also see how you do that. I will show you in cloud today, not in. But I'm very interested also doing that in Azure as well. Yeah, and as you can see here, this is the kernel, the semantic kernel, and how this works here between the applications. And then this was the first try for Microsoft. And then Google came in. Okay, but as you can see, many specifications, and no one knows who will win the fight. And also very interesting, NL Web came also from Microsoft. They want to have like a standard to create conversational interfaces in the web. So you can build like on your website, like a chatbot you can talk with, and this is like a standard NL Web. So it shows how to do that. Yeah. So as you can see here, they are working with Eventbrite, doing that together with Eventbrite and other customers as well. Yeah, Borelli, and as you can see here, the companies and projects, Shopify as well. Snowflake is using it. Yeah, so and everything is also public, open source and public. So it's, and here, as you can see, that's a vector store behind. You can use an LLM. So it's great to see. You can use it. Good. So I want to bring some practical examples, but we also can make a break, maybe, or if it's fine.
Get
Do you have enough power? Yeah. Good. I need a beer.
Yeah, I need a beer.
Maybe let's have a beer. Okay.
Yeah, if you want, you can get one too.
Okay. So I want to show you some real world examples. Hopefully it works. One context protocol as at first, I want to show you continuing the live data with weather forecast. I did it already. Then interact with web applications, with automated form filling and multi-user scenarios here. So that means I will show you how to do that with the online form. Then I will show you how I control my local computer with it. And then I will show you how to extract information from structured objects and creating test documents. Yeah. And then communicate with external AI agent systems. I don't know, the last two, I had some issues, but I can show you in general how it looks like. So one thing I showed you already is like this weather app. So it provides 3 different tools and capabilities. As you can see here, you have integrated things. You can integrate your calendar today, email and Drive, but you also can define different MCP services. And you have two different ways. I can show you. One is external or remote, and some are local ones. Yeah. So, and as you can see, it looks like that. Get weather by daytime, and then he is explaining what he's doing. Yeah. Schau gleich nach, and then you can see what is the longitude and latitude. We should see it here. Wait a moment. As you can see here, he said get current weather and get weather. So, and then since you're asking about tomorrow, then he said June 19th. I should use the get weather by date. So as you can see, he's explaining why he is taking this method. And I need to make sure that use Berlin is the city name in English as required by the tool. Usually he's doing that and translated to latitude and longitude. Let me check. City Berlin. Oh,
Maybe not needed for the.
not for that. I used another one, and he'll see the response city. I used another one before. It was US only, that take only the latitude and longitude, and but this was no problem as well. Here the weather forecast and so on. So how it looks like. At first, we take a look here in Claude. go to settings, and as you can see, go on the developer, and then you see here the weather. And you see here, this is the command, MCP weather service, yeah? Let me check here. This is my Cloud desktop, and here is my configuration, yeah? And I have many different configurations. Weather. Here's this one. As you can see here, this is my. This is this one, yeah. Okay, take the wall. I hope I can. So, hopefully I can do it a little bit bigger. That was mine.
That's okay.
I can see it. Okay. So CD. And then windsurf. Dot. Should create a new one. My hope. Again. No, he's not doing that. Wait a minute. Let me check again. It's not a directory. Why he's doing that?
Because it's a binary.
That
Should be the output. But
this is strange. So let me check. Binary.
was the bin folder, so
Yeah.
I would assume that this is where you
Wait a moment.
place your bin.
Usually it's the weather. Here. As you can see, that's in the index.js. Now you see here, this is NWS API request we make, user agent, format alert. As you can see, event area severity, then get alerts. You will have this ones. I think it was my old one. I think this one was my old one. I didn't use this one anymore. So I used it from Smithery, and then he installed that from a binary. So I installed that. So if I need to check. So you can program that by yourself, and you go to Smithery. Here. So for example, weather, what looks like. You see a lot of weather information here. I don't want to go to playground here. Check. And then you find a lot of weather servers, I guess. And then you can choose a weather server, and then you see.
You are again in the playground.
Yeah.
So now it connects directly to the playground.
Yeah.
Because it is connected already.
You see here, they're offering a client already for doing that and create this one. How is the weather in Berlin tomorrow? So this is a new feature. So, but I want to use it locally and not on there. As you can see, it's the same weather, but it's. the client works also in it. Yes. I think you can install here, you see? And then you can say Cloud Desktop, yeah? And then you install that here. Yeah, and then you go here. You see? Cloud, and then here's a key, providing the key for you. Install everything as binary. Yes. Restart the Cloud Desktop, and then is there, you know? Then I don't know. I have it 2 times now. We'll see. It takes some times. You see here, weather is there. Maybe it's 2 times weather. I don't know. See.
Yeah.
So, but usually he's doing that. We see the process, how to do that. Go to Symmetry, go
Yeah.
to binary, install it, and immediately you have it in your cloud. So as you can see here, you have also, when you go to install, you connect to the service, and then you can provide different things like Amazon Q, VS Code. I use Windsurf, and I also use Cloud Desktop. And the JSON looks like that, you know. Yeah, this is what you should see. This is this one. Yeah.
When you just have the JSON, how you do it then? Because this was now simply and easy. Thanks for that. What Symmetry does here. When you just have this JSON, did you have to add here something? So your key you have to provide by yourself. How is that?
You can change your key, for example.
Yeah.
You have another key. You can also go to the GitHub.
Okay.
Do it by yourself and deploy your own server that's independently from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like the last one, there's this command npx uvx. What's the difference there?
The npx is a I would say Node JS JavaScript.
Yeah.
So globally you can access for this JavaScript binary. So in this case, you will use this package, this Node JavaScript Node package. Okay. So this is the Node package, and this is a Node command. Yeah. So it's like a command, like brew or apt-get, you know. And as you can see here, you have the same here in Windows and also in WSL, the Linux. You know. So here you see again the server URL. They are connected. So it's like they host these MCP services. Okay. So is the way how it works. You go to Symmetry, to Pipedream, or to MCP, get your special capability, what you need. But you also can get the MCP configuration also from the Microsoft side. But I would do it always not through these servers when you have an enterprise product. If you have an enterprise product, go to your SaaS application that provides this.
This is actually the part I find most interesting. So working in a very corporate kind of setting, agile environment, Databricks, none of like Symmetry or MCP or so would work simply because we're using their server. And I'm wondering, like the weather example, from my point of view, it's like way overkill to use MCP. If I might as well like write a function and give it to whichever model I already have hosted. So
Or open the window.
huh?
Or open the window.
But let's say I want this is actually an actual use case. Say I want to expose parts of Unity catalog, but it has to be quite selective. Let's say I want to deploy some chatbot, which will let some department, I don't know, the marketing department know about marketing data related stuff. And I'm too lazy to like look for SQL translation, whatever, get comments for all of these tables. And instead, I would try to create an MCP server to interact with Unity Catalog. Now, the first question obviously is how do I write that server? But the more ominous question is, once I have it written, how do I host it and how do I use it in a self-hosted model?
So you can host your MCP server in your private network only. Then you say, okay, I only accept MCP clients, they are in the same network. This is the way you can do it, you know. So you don't accept any other request from outside of your corporate network. So you need VPN, for example, to connect. You can use OAuth 2.0 or 2.1, sorry.
Entra ID or something. Entra ID.
Yeah.
Yes.
Entra ID is using OAuth. So they have the integration into it. So as you can see, you can do that. Another thing is, I expect that, as you can see in GitHub already, you can create like special keys that the key has only different access rights. In this case, any other tools are not allowed. This is another extra layer. What you also can do if you implement your own server, that you only provide methods you want to provide. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I could create like a service principal and give it like certain scopes and only
right.
permissions and whatnot. But the point remains then, obviously, I don't want the end user from marketing to have to worry about any of this and just have his chat interface. But somehow I need the model to be aware that this MCP server exists. Please use it when applicable and perhaps perform whatever validation steps and so on to make sure that whatever information you're getting from Unity Catalog actually is related to the user's question. And like this whole process, how would I?
But if your server supports OAuth and your Unity catalog is integrated with AP, then you should be able to have the single sign-on to use the permissions that Unity catalog provides. Because you access Unity catalog as the user who signed into the model.
Yeah, but that's the thing. People from marketing would not have access to the Unity catalog per se.
So you would say they don't have access to the data in the Unity catalog, but
Yeah,
they want them
exactly.
to see the data.
No, I also don't want them to see the data, but for, let's say,
Want them to
I
see
want
part
to
of the
know.
data.
No. Me as a marketing person, I want to know how did our campaigns last month compare to the ones from last quarter.
Yes.
Is our communication working as expected or no? And to answer this, the model would have to like actually look at the data. I want whatever answer is given to the user to be based on this. So the model
I say what the Power BI data model in between and it's a MCP server, for example.
You want an abstraction layer between the user and the data that doesn't show the real data, but just some aggregates of data.
I want to be adequately sure that whatever the answer is based on is actually in the data.
But then just create basically views that contain the data that a marketing user would be allowed to see. Grant the marketing users access to those
You
views.
do not want to know how many of these views already exist.
But that's basically if you want to. If you
Question
if you want them to only access aggregated data, If you don't want middleware that aggregates the data for you, then just you need to do it on the data server.
Also can provide a special API, and I can show you with the fast MCP or fast API. We can wrap this API around it. That's very convenient about for programmers. So it's and then
But it won't be the same. You would have the same information that you have in view, but just in a different place.
Yeah.
You'll still have to define what are they allowed to see and what aggregations are they allowed to see. You just move the problem from one place to the other.
Right.
Well, but like with the crucial difference being me as a user, I can write a natural language query and get an answer where the model or whatever middleware there is does all the looking up, does all the checking which view do I actually need to look at. What data do I even have to answer this question? None of this I want to bother the user with.
But the user wouldn't be bothered no matter where you place your restrictions, right? At
Yeah,
some
but
point
how
you
do I
say,
get those?
at some point you say this is aggregated marketing data.
Mm.
And whether you say it in a view and say this is the marketing data for that's the data for aggregated marketing data, or whether you say it in an API, doesn't really matter. You have to define it somewhere.
Yeah, but regardless, how do I get the model to look at that data?
I'm not sure if I understand the
You
problem.
make this data visible for the model. You define at some place you have to define this MCP server can use this table.
Yeah. And these tables can be used in Unity catalog, they can be tables in Unity catalog, they can be APIs in an intermediate solution that you build. But you'll have to make that definition somehow, because it feels like what you're trying to do is you have this goal in mind, and you're trying to say, somehow AI should solve this security issue for me, knowing what I want without me defining it. But that's not going to happen.
Could happen if it's something like if you have the Salesforce and you want to use that, then probably
They might have that. But still, you would need to define these users are allowed to access these entities.
Yeah, no, but it's not the security issues that I want to. solve.
Here's this probably the solution 5 days ago. Databricks announced Unity Catalog and Mosaic AI integration in the MCP. You should take a look into it. And as you can see how Databricks managed servers can do that. And you will see also the tools and how to integrate. As you can see here, this is how it works. And then you also see the MCP. So they provide the MCP server for you. And then you cannot connect remotely. And then it's very convenient. As you can see, you can inspect your deployed code, who's using it. So it's very, what I can see, very convenient. As you can see, you add your tools here. And it's everything, let's say you have 2 layers. One layer is, let's say, the access right of your token, of your OAuth. And another one is you're providing here, you can defining tools, which tools you want to provide to the outside world. So you have 2 different levels. The access level and the method level is like the APIs you want to get it out. And
Yeah, but this is.
so as you can see here, Databricks, it was announced, I think a couple of days ago that they are using it. We don't need to develop that anymore, but it was also sometimes frustrating. I tried to develop this kind of MCP servers, and then a week later, it's there. Okay, I learned a lot, but this is much better, you know? And this is crazy how fast it is now. So I would say this kind of things you get on, you are not reaching this level of, and this enterprise level, if you want to do it by yourself, you know.
Did your firewall work? Your firewall MCP server, did it work?
Yes,
And was it good or is it?
I don't have the enterprise version, so I'm limited with 500 requests. But it is good. When you have only 500 requests,
Yeah,
it's good.
okay.
So, okay. So firewall is very effective as well. Good, I didn't put it here, but I can also show it. I want to show you this one. This is amazing. And we can do that together. Check. I have here our online form, you know. This online form, there's like, hey, we want to fill out the online form, you know. And I use, who knows, Microsoft Playwright. It's an amazing tool. And together with Claude, it's more amazing.
We use it a lot for front-end testing.
Yeah. And for example, let's say, for example, let me check. I'm the author, yeah, of the book. Let me check. It's like example. Let me check.
Forgot what books he wrote.
Yeah.
Happens to me all the time.
I have here one. Some, because I read epigenetic books quite a lot now. Let me check. To check my blood values. So I have, for example, this one here. Yeah, here. Dr. Spunz, Dr. Ulrich Spunz, yeah, and then let me go back. Amino. So, by Dr. Spunz. Please fill out the form, you know, online form. And I can say with Playwright, then it's more clear, yeah. So, look, and then he's doing that. He's starting now a new browser. And then he fill out everything what you need. So he should starting now, as you can see. It takes a while, but it's very convenient. So the LLM model is doing the job. He knows who is the author, getting information about the author, and then it will go step by step now through the 30 pages of the online form. And so you can check your online form, very convenient with real living people, with real authors. So we are using it as a, if you watch the entire right book, and then is the, hopefully he's reading everything carefully. Question 2, question 1, yes and no, this is required. Question 2, clarify about authorship, Dr. Strunz, masterclass question, did you search? And then, likely. Oh.
You want really to know that you are Dr. Spunz, you have to authorize now.
Yeah, so I can do that. So I need to give the full book. Usually you can upload the full book. I didn't do that now, but you can do that. Then you fill it out. Yeah. We can do it for example here, and then you can say plus and file here. Where is it?
It's actually not called aminoserve, I think.
Give me a second.
You should know, Dr. Strunz.
Yeah.
Just one and
Amino.
stop line and
A moment. I think we go to one comment. Then
The next Microsoft certificate will be what? Yeah.
good.
I do get it,
Yeah.
straight it, no. And then books, then,
I muss das
and
gar nicht mehr
then,
machen, ne?
that's strange.
Yeah.
Und,
Ich muss halt ein Buch da ist, der den Test macht, weil
Yeah.
Das ist der Fitnesspump.
he's searching everything, but not in my, let me do the stress book maybe. I don't see this amino evolution here. Okay. So, and then he should upload that, get all book details from the book. Yeah. So I don't want to do that, you know. Okay, let's do it. Usually he should find everything. Oh, it's too long for the window.
Long book.
He says you have to wait until I read the book.
Reading.
Yeah, it's too large.
Mm.
Let's try it. Okay. Sometimes you need to. So
Now you can actually watch it filling out the form, hopefully.
Yeah, we can test this. Sometimes you need to prepare that.
Again, try Dr. Schwanz.
Yes, you want to get the application. But let's see if it's going forward.
Yes, I am.
Try it, yes.
Yeah.
I wrote the book. Please check the attached book. Maybe the book is too large. I need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then I watched the masterclass.
Yeah, that's what it wants to know.
Master classes.
Mm.
Should be fine. Okay. But he's not doing that. I don't know why. Usually, we run that without any problems. This is a problem sometimes. In 1 week it works.
Yeah.
Later it doesn't work. So we also face there are some limitations. There are also some downtimes. And some context windows, they are shorter than expected. Sometimes you need to shorten the PDF you need to provide. Now we are run out of time, but I want to show you 2 different other use cases. You can control your computer, as you can see, to write with a desktop commander, as you can see. You can, and this is the one what Microsoft wants to do now with the Explorer. So if you install that, you can do everything on your computer. So you can say, hey, write test cases, search for this file. And this is really cool when you say, hey, I have here a video in QuickTime and now make a GIF. It's so convenient. In 10 seconds, you find the right command, download the command, and do the same thing on your computer, and it's done. So usually before you search what kind of command is applicable for here, it's really nice. So and as you can see here, I show it here. I can show it. I prepared that here. This is a plot. This is a plot. I stop this. This plot here. Here it is. Close it. And as you can see, so as you can see, for example, video to GIF. Here's an example. I had a GIF. I need to make an animated GIF out of that, as you can see there. And then it's very simple. Move was not accepted because it was too big. And then we make a GIF out of that. We create from this GIF locally on my computer automatically this GIF. And then you can see here in usually you can see where it is, usually in the same directory as you see here. Yeah, this plot, as you can see. So we create a plot GIF, and then I added that to the presentation. As you can see here, this is the GIF. Yeah. So because the move, he didn't accept the move.
Yeah.
So it's very convenient, as in a couple of seconds, you can do these command line tools very easily without any problems. Another thing, we don't have so much time. I think at 9 o'clock we finished, right?
Yeah.
We finished more than.
Another thing I use is I use books as a knowledge base. So you can ask books and question books for something. So I use FICE, so it's from Facebook. It's a vector database. It's installed on your local machine, and it's very convenient. You can extract the whole book into a vector database, and then you can ask with the LLM the book, and you don't need like a SaaS app on it, or you only this is just a fast or a phase thing. I can show you. It's very simple thing. See it here. It here, but as you can see here, supply therapy and get book info, list workflows, and it creates automatically with a fast MCP. This is how it works. It's really convenient. And there's also other things I create. I'm using Dust. Dust is a multi-agent system. It's like a much cheaper version of. Oops, that's not the right one. Dust, as you can see, and I create a server that I have here using the agents for the ketogene nutrition, stress breathing, longevity, and my health coach. So I can access directly via MCP to this one. I'm then using Postman for that. Who's using Postman? So Postman.
Or Insomnia.
Huh?
Insomnia.
So you can check if Insomnia also have this capability, like Postman works. So the cool one is to search here your API, for example, Dust, as you can see. Then you can say, hey, I want to have from this API, example, these assistants, for example, get configurations, list agents, and then add requests. And then create an MCP server automatically from this API. And then after a while, 30 seconds, you can download that, download zip, and then it's a fully running application. So with Postman. So it's really convenient, so you don't need to do anything anymore. But it's not really true what I said, because when you download the zip, and you realize, oh, this is more complex because APIs methods have to call each other, and then you have a kind of workflow here. And then this one you need to implement this workflow. And I use Windsurf for that to implement the workflow, and I deploy my MCP server through Railway. Who knows Railway? Do you want to see Railway? I can show you. Railway is a cloud-based container service. That's the dashboard, and I'm using that for that, as you can see. I don't know, no, it's crashed. Oh, nice. But I don't. Let me check my other one. Is file therapy that should run. Yeah, 3 hours ago. So as you can see here, this is my MCP server, and you see the settings, and then you see also here, this is my MCP server. It's running, it's deployed based on the GitHub server, and this SSE server-side execution. You can access that also via cloud, Claude desktop as well. So it's very easy and convenient to push that to this, and it's cost €5 a month. So if you compare that with AWS servers in the cloud, it's much more cheaper to run. Okay. I think it's a lot of information.
Yeah. I'm glad we recorded this.
Yeah. So you see this presentation, I put it also in the chat, and also in your LinkedIn post, I put it also. So you can read about it. If everything is clickable, you can read about it.
Well, thanks so much.
Yeah.
That's a new world. Exciting.